Now to the Russian invasion on Ukraine. Things are looking up for Ukrainian troops as Russia pulls out of Kherson. The Russian Defense Ministry reports it has withdrawn more than 30,000 Russian servicemen, roughly 5,000 units of weapons and military equipment and material property. ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Soufi Burridge is live in Kyiv, Ukraine. Good to see you, Tom. Not only are Russian troops withdrawing from the city of Kherson, but they're also retreating from the area surrounding the city. What's the latest?
Yeah, Kenneth, this has happened much quicker than many had anticipated. Ukrainian special forces, according to President Zelensky tonight, inside Kherson city, and we're seeing the scenes play out on social media. Incredible videos of people in that city. Remember, they've been living under Russian occupation since early March, so 8 or 9 months, and they are now coming out onto the streets tonight. They are hugging Ukrainian soldiers. There's clearly a lot of relief in that city. We've been speaking to Ukrainian patriots, members of the resistance movement under Russian occupation over the last few weeks. They've been waiting for this moment, praying for this moment, and now Ukrainian troops are inside the city. And as you say, Ukrainian forces have also taken a considerable amount of territory in that part of Kherson region, right down in the south of Ukraine to the west of the big Dnipro River. And now Ukraine really has a hard border right up to that vast river in the south.
No, yeah, definitely. And again, they are celebrating that victory at this hour. But as you know, Tom, the Ukrainian forces are still on the defense here. What are you learning about what they plan to do next?
Well, the Ukrainians, Kenneth, will be consolidating their positions on that western bank of the river. You know, they're going to have to demine the city. They're going to have to look for booby traps. We've seen that when the Ukrainians have liberated other cities, and we're already seeing evidence potentially emerging tonight, according to Ukraine's prosecutor, of potential war crimes in that area of Kherson. But I think then, really, my prediction is that the fighting will continue. I mean, I don't think, even though this is a huge victory for Ukraine, a massive morale boost for the country, for its military, President Zelensky saying this is a historic day for Ukraine. But I think Ukraine and Ukrainians believe the momentum's with them. They want to keep fighting, and they want to try and continue to beat Vladimir Putin and Russia on the battlefield.
And as that happens on the battlefield, we know that Russia's deputy foreign minister has said that the Kremlin is now open to dialogue without preconditions. Now that Ukraine seems to have the upper hand in this war, how likely is it that Ukraine does engage in talks, Tom?
I think at this precise moment in time, it's very unlikely right now. But things appear to be, I think, if you read all the signals coming out of Washington, coming out of other European capitals, coming out of Ukraine, and also from Russia, as you just indicated, things appear to be sort of shifting. Now, you know, every comment from any Russian official has to be taken with a pinch of salt. But what we're definitely seeing is a picture building up of Russian officials continuing to suggest that they are willing to sit down and negotiate. Now, that seems obvious right now, because the Russians are losing this war. So it seems in their interest to sit down for peace talks and try and broker some kind of ceasefire, and that will potentially give them time to regroup. Now, from the Ukrainian perspective, that doesn't seem like a great idea at all. As again, I've said, the momentum's with the Ukrainian military. They're going to try and consolidate their gains they've now got in Kherson. But you'd imagine that they believe further north in the Donbass, up towards Kharkiv, further east in that region, they believe they have a chance to take even more territory back. The question is, right now, is whether or not Ukraine is coming under some kind of pressure, or at least a nudge from its allies, including the United States, to at least consider, during the winter months, sitting down for negotiations. And we're still not clear whether or not that's going to be the case. Kenneth?
Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin is not attending next week's G20 summit in Bali. Russia's foreign minister is leading its delegation instead. Will he be open to discussing potential peace plans while at the summit?
Well, look, we know that Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, will not be meeting President Biden at the G20. That's no surprise. But I think, you know, there won't be any formal peace talks, I don't think, or negotiations about Ukraine at the G20 between the Russian delegation and any Western nations, I don't think. But, you know, these kind of events, there are a lot of informal talks around the sides of these events. We often don't learn about those kind of talks. But I think it's potentially the case that although we're not at the stage where formal negotiations are taking place over Ukraine and potential peace deal, it's possible that there are informal talks already going on to try and at least pave the way to see whether some kind of deal is possible. But I have to stress right now, it is hard to imagine a place where Russia's position, Putin's position, is reconcilable with Ukraine, Zelensky's position. You know, even if you imagine a world where Zelensky could go back to the lines of February, and that would mean Russia giving up a lot of territory they've still occupy right now, you can't imagine that would be acceptable for Vladimir Putin and the nationalist hardcore in Russia, which his support, he really kind of relies on their support. So it is hard to imagine where a deal would be, but there certainly seems to be momentum in that direction in capitals like Washington and elsewhere.
Yeah, hard to imagine indeed. Tom, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.